Hey everybody, thanks for joining us. I'm Tim Scott. Thrilled to have on the show Disney. She's a Disney fan. She's a mom. She's also USA Today best-selling author, Ashley Craft. Ashley, thanks for coming on the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I'm very excited. You have a brand new cookbook that's just out. But before we start about the cookbook, we always want to have a guest on the show. We want to hear their Disney story. Like, what made you a fan? Like, how'd you enter the Disney sphere, the Disney bubble?
So I was lucky enough to grow up in Anaheim, California. So I lived really close to Disneyland. It was a really normal, mundane thing for us to go to Disneyland. It was like going to the park, just we're going to just go on Space Mountain and then come home. Like it was a really quick thing. So that definitely jump-started my love for Disney, that I loved going there, that it was such a fun place for me to hang out. And then when I was in college, some reps came around and they were talking about the Disney College program, and I wanted to do that. So I went on my first Disney College program at working at Disney's Animal Kingdom at Expedition Everest in Florida. And then I wanted to do it again, and I did a second college program working in concierge at Old Key West and Saratoga Springs resorts. And I became one of those college reps. So it was a really good time for a while there. And yeah, it was just great to feel like I was at home in the parks again, just casual visiting whenever I wanted.
Did you have a different vibe from Disneyland to Disney World? Is it the same? How's that work? How does it make you feel?
Oh, there's definitely a different vibe. I don't know are you very familiar with both parks?
I've not been to Disneyland, but I always like to take in people from it might be their own park.
Yeah. So I think that they definitely have a different vibe. Disney World is very much like a destination in the fact that people from all around the world are spending like their one trip to go to Disney World. It's somewhat complicated nowadays to visit because there's so many different things to reserve and, ways that you got to build your vacation in a certain way. Whereas I think that Disneyland caters more to a Southern California population where there are still a lot of people who visit casually, and it isn't as big. It's not as complicated to visit. So I think that they both have their own pros and cons, because I do think Disney World, everything is kind of bigger and better, and Disneyland is a little quainter, but it does have a more laid back vibe in my opinion.
Okay, you don't live in California anymore, so what's your favorite park and where do you get to more often?
So I live in Minneapolis. I've only lived here for a couple of years, but I haven't lived near the parks in a long time. So, but I was quite recently an annual pass holder in Florida. So we do visit Florida more often. But the most recent park I visited was Disneyland. So I do visit both coasts pretty frequently.
So we're going to talk about your book here, but was a lot of the visits recently for research for these for your cookbooks? And I got to point out, I have like 4 of your cookbooks. So.
Oh yeah. This wasn't a research trip actually. It is a funny story because I actually went to California not to go to Disneyland. We went to go take the kids to Super Nintendo World at Universal, and then it was right during the global IT outage, and we got stuck in Southern California for 6 extra days. So we went to Disneyland. So I didn't have my gear. I didn't have like my cute clothes that I normally like to wear. But I mean, even my kids' favorite thing to do at either park, either coast, is to do the bounty hunting in Galaxy's Edge. And they were like, "Hey, Mom, can we do bounty hunting?" I said, "We don't even have our magic bands. Like, I didn't expect to come here. Like, we're literally trapped in California. So, I'm sorry, I don't have anything. So, always carry your magic bands. I guess that's the moral of the story.
You never know when you're going to need your magic band.
You never know. You just never know."
6 days, that's a nice long trip there that you weren't planning on.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a 3-day trip, and it ended up being a 9-day trip. So it was kind of crazy.
What resort did you stay at when you were there? Then you stayed.
Oh, we stayed at Disney's Grand Californian.
Oh, I've heard that's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's the best. The best. I would say
that's where you'd recommend.
Yeah, I would say maybe the best Disney resort in the United States.
Wow. Big praise, big praise. Love it.
Those is big words, but I stand by them. So
you would know. I trust your opinion.
I would know.
Okay, so you're in the college program and you move on with life. How do you evolve to making the unofficial Disney cookbooks?
So I just continued to love Disney and visit Disney parks. Once I had my children, we continued to visit even when they were little. And Disney has just been kind of ingrained in my whole life. And I started doing some blogging back in 2017. And I wanted to do sort of a general purpose Disney blog where people could visit and hear stories about the parks or get tips or, things like that. So I just kind of wanted a space to be able to say all the things I knew about Disney or talk about Disney. But on that website, I started doing copycat recipes of things that I enjoyed while I was at the parks. And people really seemed to like those, that they were interested, and those had the most hits out of any of the posts I was making. So I wondered if people are this interested in it, I wonder if people would want a physical, traditionally published cookbook along these same lines. So that was when I started to try and find a literary agent. I found a literary agent who thought it was a great idea, wanted to work with me. And then we started shopping the idea around publishers to see if anybody else was on board for that. And finally, after a long time, we got in contact with Adams Media, which is the same company that published the Unofficial Harry Potter cookbook, which is, a wildly popular book. And so they said, we did it for Harry Potter. We would love to try for Disney parks. And this is now my fifth Disney book that I have published with them, plus a Universal book. So we've done six theme park books together in 4 years.
Wow. Did you have a background in writing?
No. That's kind of the funny part, I guess, is you just learn along the way and have a good team of people around you.
Right. That's outstanding. So how did the holiday book come about?
Well, it just sort of was a natural companion to the other books that I've written. Yeah, if you're watching, you can see how beautiful it is.
If you're watching, you can see it's a gorgeous book. Yes, the paper's beautiful. The pictures are fantastic.
Yeah, they really do. They really do give the highest quality materials to my books. So I'm super proud of them. But yeah, we have the Unofficial Disney Parks Cookbook, which is like the first book that I came up with, and I thought I would only ever write one book. So it's kind of it's mostly snacks and treats, but has kind of grab bag of other items from the parks. And then there's the drinks book, which is just, beverages of any sort. And then the Epcot book. And then the Universal book came out after that. And then the restaurants book, which is just the quick service or sit down restaurants. No kiosks. And then this holidays book. So it's sort of all the different books represent different parts of culinary aspects of the parks. And I think that because the restaurant book doesn't have kiosks and stuff, and a lot of holiday foods do come from kiosks, it sort of was the opposite of that.
Yes. Some of those kiosks I needed to get the recipes for. So, and that brings me to now, while your book is unofficial, would you call the recipes official?
I would not. So all of these Yeah, so I formulate all of these recipes myself. So I go to the parks, I do a lot of research, I taste test everything, and I take notes, I do all this kind of things, and then I go back to my home kitchen and I recreate them to map what is made at the parks in a way that people can make them at home. So Disney is making these at scale in an industrial kitchen. We don't have that kind of ingredients or equipment in our homes. So these recipes are, I believe, as close as you can get to what they're serving at the parks using a home cook's arsenal.
You must have quite the palate then to be able to.
Like, I honestly do think I really didn't think it was that special to be able to do that. But anytime I talk about it, people are always like, wow, that's such a skill. And I didn't even know that was a skill I had. Like it is something that I've really honed in, and writing 6 books, I just think it gets better and better.
Has a Disney or any Disney chef reached out to you and said, you've got it nailed on, or you might want to add a little bit more or something?
I haven't had anybody reach out like that. I did do a podcast that had somebody who works in the Disney kitchens just last week. So sounded like she was supporting my work and and all that goes with it. So yeah.
Excellent. Now this is not just a cookbook telling you the recipes. I love how at the beginning of the book you give some like ideas of what people need to maybe cook some of these things out, equipment-wise, ingredient-wise, and then you actually give them, if they don't have this or won't get it, some substitution.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, I think that's really important because I understand if you're the kind of person who wants to make it perfect and you want to go out and invest in the kind of equipment that I'm using or that will make it as close as possible. Or this might be something that you're totally casually throwing together and don't actually care what it looks like. I guess you're just trying to make something that tastes great. And either way is totally wonderful and no hate in either direction. So I want to provide the information for either side. If you would like to acquire this type of equipment, then that's great. If you don't, then here's something that should work similarly well.
Excellent. Give us a tip, because I read your book, and your tip for food coloring, because this I never even really thought about. When that they would use it, and there's a special type or kind you need to use. Yeah,
so I do recommend gel food coloring rather than liquid food coloring, and that's becoming more and more common. When I first started writing the books, I had to order them online to get those kind of colors, but now you can usually get gel food coloring at the grocery store. So it's just a tighter consistency than the liquid, so that it holds that color stronger and brighter without having to use a lot of it.
Fantastic. Now, I know your cookbook, like all your cookbooks, I believe have 100 recipes in it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a tremendous amount of recipes. You're definitely going to find something somebody would want to make in there. But can you tell us, Ashley, what would be one of your favorite recipes in the book?
The holidays book, or any book?
The holidays book. Well, let's talk about the holidays book, because that's what we want to talk about, and then maybe just overall.
Talking about.
That one right there.
Yes, I really love these recipes because I think they're really fun, and I love to celebrate holidays. I did just make the pumpkin patch cookies the other day. I'm trying to see if I can find the picture, but this cookie is basically like a pumpkin pie spice cookie that has a pumpkin pie spice frosting that goes on top, and then you put little grass frosting on top, and then put those candy corn pumpkins sitting around on it. So it looks like this.
Oh, yes.
So this cookie is not harder to make than any other cookie. It's even easier than regular sugar cookies because they're drop cookies, not like rolled out. So you're basically just making like a regular drop cookie and then frosting it and then putting these little decorations on it. So, but it's like, it has a lot of impact. You can definitely tell this is a Halloween or a fall treat. It's delicious because it has those pumpkin spice flavors in it that people love. So I would say this is one of my favorites.
That's awesome. Oh, I think we need to mention that before we get into one of your overall favorite recipes. Well, this says a holidays cookbook. It's all holidays throughout the year. It's not just the holiday season coming up.
Absolutely. Yeah. So this is every holiday from New Year's to New Year's Eve. So everything in between that you can imagine. Of course, just like Disney parks, there is an emphasis on Halloween and Christmassy time seasons, just like they do the paid ticket events for those. So there is it's weighted in that direction, but you'll be surprised about the fun things that you can find for holidays you might not have even thought of, like Pride Week, or Pride Month, May the 4th, like Seasons of the Force, that kind of thing, 4th of July, Thanksgiving, all those holidays.
Which one of those are your favorite? What's your favorite season, time of year, festival? Like what brings in your Disney culinary feels?
Well, I personally really love Halloween. I love to dress up. I love the whole spooky vibes, and I like when the weather turns. So I think Halloween time is my favorite time to visit Disney parks.
So we're getting your favorite season right now.
That's right. I know. It's so exciting.
Are you done Not So Scary this year? Or is that doing one this year?
I'm not doing it this year, but I did both coasts back to back last year, and that was really fun.
Guess you probably need a year off. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm still recovering from the candy. I'm like, in a candy coma.
Been there.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite overall recipe from all your books so far that you would make in a heartbeat right now when we get done with this show?
I still have a soft spot in my heart for the Gaston's Tavern cinnamon rolls. That was one of the first recipes that I put on my blog. It's probably my YouTube video with the most views, even though it was really like poorly made. So I've had a lot of people give me great feedback on that recipe and who love it and include it in their family celebrations. And so it really does make me happy anytime I hear about people making it, and I love making it in my own home.
I love it. Now, in your recipes, let's go back to the holiday book. If someone has, they have young kids around the house and they want to make a recipe with their kids, is there one you might recommend to try? That maybe where the kids get a little involved, but they don't have to deal with like a meat cleaver or anything like that?
Just give it to them, whatever. Just let it loose.
What kind of...
No, I do not condone this kind of behavior. This actually is not saying pick up a meat cleaver. Don't do that. No, I always recommend, if you're starting with kids, to do the drinks because they're so easy to put together. Kids love it. I mean, my kids absolutely love the opportunity to do mixology in the kitchen. They think it's so fun. They really feel like they're participating in the cooking process when all they're doing is just pouring juice into a cup. But it turns out so beautifully in the end. Usually these drinks just have a couple ingredients, but something like boba bubbles or a rosemary branch or something like that will really make it pop and make it shine and look like whatever holiday it's trying to put on. So that's my recommendation is try a couple of these drinks with your kids.
Oh, that's a great tip. And I will say, all your cookbooks and the other ones that I have behind me, you really can't see. They're all exactly the same size, the same thickness. They fit.
Except the drinks book. The drinks book is a little smaller because it's supposed to be like for a bar cart. So you can
the one I don't have. The one I don't have.
Yeah. So you got to go get it.
I will.
I've got mine up here somewhere too.
Okay, mine are back there.
Yeah.
Right now. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. But I mean, they look great just sitting out. They're like almost like a coffee table book.
Yeah, totally.
And then you just get a inspiration. Like I want to make something from the contemporary today. Why not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm feeling totally contemporary.
Totally. You can pick up this book anywhere books are sold, pretty much. If you visit simonandschuster.com and type in Ashley Craft, it'll show up with all of my books and where all of the places that they're sold. So it'll have little buttons that you can click on if you like to buy your books from Amazon or Barnes & Noble or Books A Million, whatever is your preferred retailer. You can go ahead and click on that from simonandschuster.com, or you can go directly to any of those sites. And I would love everybody to check me out at Instagram on Unofficial Taste Tester is my handle. And I love chatting with everybody about Disney food and just Disney in general. So hit me up with a DM.
A lot of people are going to. I might try some of these recipes and let you know how they go.
Yes, only if it turns out. If it doesn't turn out, just don't tell.
I'm sure it'll turn out. Sure, just your recipe. You're wrong. It'll be fantastic.
Yeah.
Ashley, thanks so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it, and hope to stay in touch. Good luck with the book, everybody. Go out and get the Unofficial Disney Parks Holiday Cookbook. Love it.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Have a great day. Thanks, everybody. Everybody, you've been listening to The Gateway to the Magic. We'll see you, everybody.